So, in the last class, we have completed synchronization using hardware instructions available with OS, right? Okay, where we understood test and set and swap functions, basic functioning of those two, and how we can use them for providing solution for the critical section problem, right? Okay, so there is another way also by using which a developer can provide synchronization, which is called semaphore. Semaphore is nothing. It is a type of synchronization tool, or we can say it is a synchronization tool available with developers to use for providing synchronization, right? And these are semaphores are semaphores are a type of an integer variable. It is nothing more than an integer variable which, apart from initialization is accessed through two two atomic operations called wait and signal. So semaphore is an integer variable which is, apart from initialization, is accessed through two atomic operations. Atomic means these two operations can't be executed at the same time. That means they are atomic in nature. They can be executed one after another. Okay, so let's check what it means, what wait means. So wait operation is nothing. It is a function to test something. It is simply a function to test something, or sometimes we will represent it with P alphabet, capital P alphabet, which directly means to test, that we are testing something in this function or in this operation. Second operation, we have signal operation, which is referred as, or which is sometimes addressed with capital V, and it is to increment something in the code, right? So you can check uh, wait operation will perform here. S is semaphore name, which could be anything, S, M, K, whatever. You may use any name here. We are using S for signifying that it is the semaphore, right? So wait operation on semaphore S is what it will do. It will simply test the value of semaphore for greater than 0, right? And if it is getting less than 0 for S, that means it has to do no operation. That means it will do nothing, no operation, right? And if it is getting positive value, greater than 0 value, that means what it will do, it will simply decrement it. It will simply decrement it, or to test and to decrement. See, it is these are very simple functions but very useful functions, right? You will see when we will give we will provide solutions to more to traditional or classical problems of synchronization by using these semaphore. You will then only you will understand the value of these functions, how these are very useful for developer, right? And signal function will simply increment the value of semaphore by 1, right? So these are the pseudocode for the wait and signal operation which we can perform on semaphore, which is defined, which is which which could be anything. Either it will be S or mutex or any other name you can give to your semaphore, right? But these operations will do these type of tasks on the on that particular semaphore. Like wait operation will simply first test the value of that semaphore and then decrement it, and simply signal operation will simply increment that particular value of semaphore, right? Right. Just we need to remember that wait and signal operations must be executed indivisibly. What it means that if anyone one is modifying the value, then no one is allowed to modify those value which are currently used by any of these function, right? So and as well as you must ensure that wait operation must be executed without interruption. That means if someone is executing wait operation on semaphore, then no other wait or no other operation can interrupt this wait operation at that time. That means if once wait operations is started on any particular semaphore, it should be closed before any other wait operation could be happen to that particular semaphore, right? So these are the two guidelines which we need to ensure that whenever we are using semaphores and we are using a wait and signal operations on those semaphores, right? So now come to the point that how many types of semaphores we have. There are two types of semaphores available with us to use are of two type. One is addressed as counting semaphore, and other one is addressed by the name binary semaphore, for or sometimes we refer them as mutex lock. Mutex simply means mutex is the short form for mutual exclusion, abbreviation for mutual exclusion. So binary semaphore also referred as mutex locks, right? And counting value of counting semaphore could be from 0 to n, right? And binary semaphore value will be either 0 or 1. it can only have two values. Either it will have 0 or it will have 1. So both the types of semaphores have their special use cases, and those both are used in different scenarios, right? So like like if like binary semaphore, binary semaphore can be used to deal with critical section problem for multiple processes where n processes can share semaphore semaphore mutex equals to 1. The value of that mutex will be initialized using 1, and if the value is 0, that means someone is executing its critical section, right? So the binary semaphores could be used for critical section problem, to deal with critical section problem with multiple processes, right? Whereas counting semaphore could be used to control access to a given resource consisting of a finite number of instances. If we have n number of instances available with us in the system, and we want to give access to them, access to those resources for available processes in the system, we can use counting semaphore in that case, right? For giving the control access to the given resources, right? For that, what you have to do, you you will start you will initialize your semaphore, whatever it is, whatever name you have given. Initialize semaphore with n, which is, what is n here? It is number of resources available. Number of resources available in the system. In the system, right? So you will initialize your semaphore with the value of n. Let us say you have five instances of some resources, then that means n is 5. So you will initialize your semaphore value with 5, and on every axis of that particular instance of that particular semaphore, the value will be decremented by 1. That means if one process accessed one instance of that particular resource, that means the new updated value for 1 will be n minus 1. That means that is 4, right? And the rule is something like that: any process which want to any process which want to use resource will will perform wait wait operation on semaphore. Wait operation on defined semaphore. Semaphore. What it means? It means simply decrementing the decrementing value of semaphore. Simply you are decrementing the value of semaphore. And next rule will when a process release resource, it will perform signal operation on semaphore. What it means? It means simply incrementing the value of semaphore. Right. So how counting semaphore can be used? You can simply initialize the value of semaphore with the number of resources available in the system, and if any process wants to access any resource, that means that particular process need to perform wait operation on that particular semaphore. Right. That means the process who wants to use the resource can use the resource by performing wait operation. That means it will simply decrement the value of that particular uh, resource. That means now now if one process is using one resource of that particular one instance of that particular resource, that means the new value for rest of the process will be and value will be n minus 1. That means if you have four processes and one process is performing wait operation, that means there is four number of resources available for this in the system for rest of the four processes, right? Demanding processes. And once that particular process completed its task using that resource, will simply perform signal operation on that particular semaphore, right? That means it will increase the value of that particular semaphore. That means it will indicate the increased value of the increased number of the resources available in the system for rest of the processes. So these are the two types of semaphores. One is binary semaphore and counting semaphore. Both have their individual use cases. Like binary semaphore could be used for dealing with the critical section problem for multiple processes. That means if n processes are there, they can share a single semaphore which we have used as mutex equals to 1, and whenever one process is using that updating when one process is performing its critical section, that means it will update the value of mutex as 0, and once it has completed its critical section at the exit section, it will simply increment the value of that particular semaphore. So it can be used to deal with critical section problem for multiple processes, right? And counting semaphores are the semaphores to you majorly used for the control access to for the resources available in the system, right? So for that we have to initialize your semaphore with the maximum number of resources available, and after that if any process wants to use the resource, we will perform wait operation on that, and if any process wants to release the resource, that means it will perform signal operation on that. So let us understand it using example how semaphore could be used. let us say we have two concurrent processes, two concurrent processes P1 and P2, where P1 has statement 1 to execute and P2 has statement 2 to execute, and we want we want the execution of these two concurrent processes such that we have condition such that S2 always follows S1, means first the S1 statement should be executed at first and after that only S2 will execute, right? So you have to provide a semaphore solution for that. So what we can use, we can satisfy this problem, we can solve this problem using semaphore. So what we will do, we will simply use a semaphore use a semaphore whatever you want to give it. Let us say we are giving the name as semaphore name as, let us say, CSE. This is the semaphore name, right? Semaphore name we have given to our semaphore, right? And we will initialize it using initialize it using 1, right? So what we can do in the code of P1, we can do simply, we will execute we will execute statement 1 of the P1, and after that we will simply signal our semaphore CSE, right? And in P2 what we will do, we will simply wait on semaphore, which is CSE, will perform wait. P2 will perform wait first on semaphore CSE. Sorry, this is terminator is not there. And then execute statement number 2 of that particular process. So this will be the code we can use for providing synchronization between P1 and P2, so for such that the condition of given condition is fulfilled, which was S2 will follow S1. That means S1 will execute first and S2 will execute second. So if you check at any random point, you will check if both processes started at the same time, then what will happen? Obviously S1 will be executed first, right? Sorry, we will initialize our semaphore with 0. For this condition we will initialize our semaphore with the value 0, then only it will work. 0. Now check, both process wants to execute their instructions, and what we want simply that the concurrent process P1 and P2 will execute their transactions such that S1 will execute first and S2 will execute second. So we simply just modify the pseudocode for the processes such that, like in P1 we will insert signal on semaphore after the statement S1, and in the P2 we will what we will do, we will perform wait operation before executing S2, right? Now if you check, if at the same time they both processes want to execute their instructions, they will be logged using signal and wait operations, right? That means this sequential execution of S1 S2 will be provided using these operations, wait and signal operations. Now check this time, at this point CSC value, semaphore value is 0. After, at the transaction number, this is transaction number 1, this is at the transaction number 2. Let us understand, at the transaction number 1 there is value of semaphore is 0, okay, and at the transaction number 2 here, if both want to execute their transaction number 2, let us understand, P1 will execute S2, right? And at the same time P2 will execute wait operation on CSC, and wait operation on CSC means wait on 0, because CSC value is 0, semaphore value is 0, and wait on 0, that means it will do nothing, no operation, right? You can check the code above. You can check, wait on S means first it will check the S value of semaphore. So value of semaphore currently at that time is 0. So 0 is less than equals to 0, that means no operation, it will be blocked here, right? It will be blocked here. So this P2 will be blocked here, spin locked here, right? And next clock value, at the next clock value, what P1 will do, P1 will signal on CSC, and P2 will want P2 wanted to execute S2, but it is due to the problem, it is already spin logged at the T2, that's why it is waiting here, so it is not doing here this transaction. So at the time transaction number T3, only P1 will execute its instruction, second instruction, and second instruction is signal on CSC, signal on our semaphore, and at this point still semaphore value is 0. So signal 0 means directly it will increment the value of CSC as 1, right? You can check the code, you can check the code. See, signal on any semaphore will simply increment the value without testing, okay? So at this point the value of at this point in time, value of semaphore is now 1, comes to 1. Now that means S1 has executed, and after that, after this signal operations on semaphore, the value of semaphore is incremented to 1. Now when the value of semaphore is incremented, it is still checking the value of semaphore. Now after this statement, the CSC value it will get as 1. That means now the wait on 1 will be performed. As the value of semaphore got 1, the busy waiting or spin lock of that P2 has been breaked, because now it is getting the value of semaphore as 1. That means it can decrement it to 0. Now it can decrement it, that means after that this execution the value of CSC will be 0, and it will execute statement number 2, which is S2. That means P2 can execute S2. Now what, if you do the analysis, you may find that your condition is fulfilled and S2 follows S1 at any order in time, right? So your according to your question, this condition must be followed, and this condition is followed using your code. You have just made single change to your code of the processes, and correct change to the code of the processes. That's why this is happening, right? So whatever, uh, if you want to, simply execute processes according to some rule, you can simply modify the code of that particular those particular processes using semaphore technique, and you can use a semaphore and give the proper value that to that particular semaphore, and use the wait and signal operations on that semaphore. And by using the proper ordering of wait and signal operations, you can provide the solution to the synchronization problem as we did in this example, right guys? So I think you got my point, that semaphore can be used for providing solution to the critical section problem or synchronization purpose, right? So we can say we can implement we can implement synchronization or critical section problem using semaphores. Like, what we will do, we will simply perform wait operation on semaphore semaphore name, any semaphore which you have defined semaphore name. Let us generalize the name, right? Semaphore name at entry section. So at entry section, we will perform a process must perform wait operation on that particular semaphore. After wait operations only, it will enter to its critical section. Right? And after exiting its critical section, process need to signal on that particular semaphore which you have used for synchronization purpose. And after executing signal operation on that particular process, the current process can go to the remainder section, execute remainder section, and simply close the do while loop, right? So for providing the solution for critical section problem, we can use our semaphore operations such that any process who wants to enter its critical section must perform wait operation on semaphore which you have used at entry section, right? And in the same way, when it is exiting its critical section, it will perform signal operation at exit section, right? So what it means, it simply means that particular process is simply decrementing value of that semaphore at the wait operation at the entry section. And after successful decrementation of that particular semaphore value only, it can get into the its critical section. And after exiting its critical section, it is simply restoring the value of that particular semaphore by using signal operation. That means it is incrementing the value of that particular semaphore, right guys? I think maybe this is clear to all. These are very simple method to provide synchronization among processes, right? So at the part of process synchronization, semaphores has uh, very nice capability of solving the synchronization problem, right? We will check the use cases of these, and we will try to solve these classical problems of synchronization which we will discuss in next class using semaphores, right? So I think these what is semaphore and types of semaphore and how they are working and how we can use them in the programming for ensuring uh, our target condition. I think it is clear to you, and this is uh, this is all for today. I think it is clear to you. Thank you.